Hello everyone, this is Angela and welcome to my channel, Angie the ENTJ. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notification bell so that you'll know whenever I upload any new content. Forewarning, I'm feeling extra sassy today, so let's watch this video briefly and then I will be back with my commentary.
You cannot take me to coffee or tea on the first dates. It's not equitable for me. I don't drink coffee, and my perfume costs too much, so don't play. All right. I say, good morning. It was great speaking with you also. It's actually restaurant week coming up. Here's the link. Let me know.
All right there, little mama. Let's just pump a brakes for a second, okay? Let's hold your horses. Because here's the thing, fellas. Don't get upset with it. You just gotta know how to play the game. So, like, for example, I ask you out on a date, no matter coffee or whatever. If you try to redirect the date, are you paying? Because that's a good idea. If you want to do something outside of what I asked you to do, hey, baby girl, you must be paying. As long as you're paying, we can do whatever you want to do. Just saying. Ain't no reason to get mad. But also, you have me fucked up. Because if you say you ain't paying and you redirecting the date, ain't gonna be one. You're gonna be by yourself, little mama.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I have a question for those of you who are watching. If this man were to have children, or if he has any children, let's assume that he doesn't have any children because I don't want to wish harm on anyone. So let's be hypothetical. If this man were to have children, he got somebody pregnant today, okay? Where do you think within the next 18 to 25 years, where do you think his offspring will most likely be able to be located when they become adults? Do you think that you will find them lining up to cross a graduation stage at a college or university? Or will they be lining up to take a mug shot? See, they are pulling the same tricks today that they pulled 25 years ago during the natural hair movement, when black women were starting to swirl and divest way back when, and they were no longer the center of anyone's attention. And listen, I am here to pull the layers back on this rotten onion that we're looking at right here, okay? So let me Dusty Mail translate for you, because I know some of you all, you're not going to catch it because this may be your first rodeo, but it's not for me. So let me Dusty Mail translate for you. Basically, he knows that his discolored fingernails, which indicate poor circulation, poor oxygenation, and vitamin deficiencies, along with his advanced age, may have shortened his lifespan via smoking certain things. However, despite this, he has the urge to reproduce, and in today's time, that is difficult for him in particular to do because he can't do what his father likely did and find a random teenage girl to take advantage of, because that's very illegal now and you will go to jail for a very, very long time. This is the reason why they think grown women should be impressed with Applebee's, because they are used to dating children. I bet you that there are less than 18 years between his age and the age of his mother, but I digress. So, what he's doing instead is inviting women to where he feels is a nice date and will hopefully cost less than $50, because the dusty black males have a fetish with the number 50. They like 50 Cent the rapper. They're costing the U.S. economy more than $50 billion each year. And they're only giving out $50 in child support to their passport baby mamas in the Philippines.
An extra for the for isa cause I need to buy an medicine for him. So that 2,000 is not enough for him.
That's enough.
So deep down in his heart, past his cigarette smoke burned lungs, dusty black males they truly believe in the transformational power of the number 50. So to him, bear that in mind, this is his worldview. To him, a nice date consists of coffee in a place that is far, far away from the off-brand corner store that he is filming this video from. To him, buying a latte at Starbucks is a new experience because over there where he's at, there aren't any Starbucks where he lives at. To him, it is a big, big deal to drive all the way over to the side of town that is similar to where I already live in, just so that he can have a fancy cup of coffee on a date. Think about it. You usually find Starbucks in business districts, around universities, in areas where the average income levels are at a certain tier, right? That's why there are 3 Starbucks near where I live, but none around him. And the reason why I know there aren't any around him, because if there were, then he would not consider it a place to have a first date. You do not see people in Starbucks on their first dates unless they're in middle school. They're middle school little children, little teeny boppers, preteens who are playing grown up. However, he cannot let you know that he is a simpleton. He cannot let you know that the only wounds that he has access to requires him to pay money. So what he is doing is trying to flee away from Blackistan along with you too. That's why he's trying to meet you where you are. And he doesn't want to appear like the weakling that he is, so he makes it about you being too picky, too high-strung, and having too high of expectations, and not about the fact that he cannot look at himself in the mirror and accept the unsuitable male reflection staring right back at him. Random and everyday things that I and so many other women take for granted, think about it. Those are special occasions to him with his little $50. You see, going back to why this man's children would more than likely be found marching to an inmate lineup instead of across a graduation stage is because cheap dates are more expensive than the meal itself. That is because the children who grow up to become felons and drug addicts were more than likely to be conceived during the course of a cheap or free date. How do I know this? Well, according to a study found at the National Institute of Health and the National Library of Medicine, research was conducted in 2014 which showed, and I quote, low, L-O-W, low, not high, low socioeconomic status in childhood is a well-known predictor of subsequent criminal and substance misuse behaviors, but the causal mechanisms are questioned. Okay, so let me do it in layman's terms. So basically what this is saying is that children who were sired by poor fathers are more likely to be felons and drug addicts because he cannot provide, and it will force the mother of his children to have to beg random taxpayers for food and shelter because he was not man enough to provide it himself. However, because those children usually have praying mothers, aunties, and grandmothers, that some of these children miraculously do not end up becoming criminals as expected. So that's exactly what is meant when they say that the causal mechanisms are questioned. Okay. And I wanted to keep this video brief, so I'll just go ahead and skip to the results of the study, which shows that, and I will quote, Children of parents in the lowest income quintile. Quintile is basically the lowest 20% of the population. So out of 100% of people, from those who are the poorest to the richest, the bottom 20%, okay? So children whose parents come from the bottom 20% experience a 7-fold increased hazard rate of being convicted of violent criminality compared with peers in the highest quintile or the highest 20% of the population. Okay, so let me, layman's terms, translate. So basically what this is saying is that the children who are born with families where the men do not provide enough or do not provide at all, that those are the children born into the bottom 20% of the population. That it means that they are 7 times more likely to become the felons that police officers are arresting within the next 10 to 15 years. And if they are not felons, then they may become drug addicts who are being exploited by felons. You see, this is why, going on a historical note, in ancient societies like ancient China, these are the type of dudes that they would just castrate and turn into eunuchs. It kept them from creating more mouths that they could not afford to feed. Even in ancient times, the subject of not being able to afford a family or children was an issue of male failure and not inherent feminine flaws. So, when a dusty male is inviting a woman on a cheap date, even if he has the money, first of all, one thing you need to know that I had to see in 25 years, and I'm trying to help you to see without having to take nearly 3 decades. First of all, this dusty male is angry that he cannot do what R. Kelly used to. See, R. Kelly at the time was very wealthy, but he was lurking around McDonald's for teen girls who he can impress with a cheeseburger and some French fries. See, that's the real reason why these dusty males are out here talking about some Applebee's and some Chili's. But I digress. What dusty males are revealing is that he will not be a proper husband, a proper father, and that he's setting up his own offspring to become felons and drug addicts. What he is also showing is that he wants random taxpayers to pay for the children that he created from the time of their birth until they become incarcerated, because he's an unsuitable male who can't count, who can't read, and has a 4th grade education within a nation where the primary education is free. And even if something unfortunate happened that kept him from gaining an education, GED classes are free, and he won't even study to get a GED because he's an unsuitable male that lacks ambition. Listen, women who accept such dates are at risk of being turned into single mothers who will have to beg random taxpayers for food stamps and Section 8 housing in order to survive while raising his spawn. And since these children will likely become felons, they're going to cost an additional more than $40,000 a year to keep them housed, fed, clothed, and medicated while they're incarcerated. See, this is the reason why his side of town is blighted, and he's wanting to, now that black women done swirled and divested, now he want to come over to where we're at. See, the people who would have been paying taxes on his side of town in order to make it nice and filled with amenities, instead of them being productive, they're either incarcerated, they're on some type of assistance. I'm not poverty shaming you if you qualify for assistance and you need it. That's not what this is about. But what I'm talking about is dudes like this that create situations where the end result would require someone to be on assistance. So instead of having people over there paying taxes, they're incarcerated, they're on assistance, or they're in somebody's cemetery. That's why it's blighted. Potholes everywhere. Look like a bomb went off. Whereas where I live at, by contrast, there aren't any potholes in sight. We have a lot of taxpayers who work, and the funds that are generated are used to benefit the community at large, which is why it is so progressive where I live at. A place that somebody like him would think is a grand destination compared to where he resides. Now let's think about it. My everyday life, what I do every day and take for granted, is a special outing for him. So basically, the issue of crime and poverty is not with the woman. It is tied to the man, and broke males need to stay out of the dating pool because we don't want him. He's already hard to look at, even harder to listen to. And then on top of that, he has the audacity to be cheap. Ooh, gross. To conclude, if you go on a cheap or a free date, your children are 7 times likely to become felons and drug addicts, according to the National Institute of Health. And on top of that, they'll end up looking like this dude. That's all I have to say for now. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notifications bell so you'll know whenever I upload any new content. Take care until next time.